we were just talking about Stephon Castle in the starting lineup, Ethan, and that is another theme that we've seen so far this season. When he has been in the starting lineup, and obviously when you're surrounded by more talent, playing alongside guys like Victor, Devin Vassell, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, that can make things a little bit easier for you and open up more looks for you as well. But still, at some point, you've got to give credit. And to not just, the other guys around him being the sole reason that he's playing that way. And as much as there have been a little bit of a stretch these past 3 games of some off games, as much as he was, up there, one of our leading scorers in that Indiana game, despite the efficiency, 3 straight 20-point games for Stephon Castle. As much as 2 of them were losses, still, especially that first Memphis game, I thought that was a really solid game for him. Well, now that I think about it, he played well in both, to be honest. A lot of good dunks, driving to the basket in both of those games, but 20 points, 26 points, 23 points. Looking pretty good at the line as well in both of those games, and finding other ways to contribute defensively, as well as on the boards and just being a physical presence. And playing his role on offense, making extra passes, a lot of hockey assists for Stephon Castle.
Look, I think I requested at the beginning of the year that Mitch Johnson play Stephon more minutes, especially late in games,
You
and
did.
he is doing that. Now we aren't winning like I expected that we would be, but I still think Stephon as a starter with higher minutes has been effective. If you just look at his starting numbers compared to his regular numbers, he is averaging more in
Hmm.
pretty much every category on better efficiency, even from 3, even though it's not much, 25% versus 29% as a starter. I love what you said about him kind of playing the Jeremy role because I think
Hmm.
that's really true as a crasher, both as a rebounder, as a roller to the rim, as a cutter. He's been exceptional. Obviously, there's room for him to improve as a scorer overall, as well as a shooter. But I still think you see these high IQ plays, Jude, making the right passes, the right
Hmm.
moments, and defensively continuing to be really, really solid. I don't have the defensive metrics in front of me. I'm sure somebody's going to find one that's negative. But to me, just watching the game, he next to Jeremy Sohan is probably our best perimeter and point of attack defender, and that's extremely valuable in my eyes. Now, is he perfect? Not at all. But I still think he has been playing
He's
really
also a
well.
rookie.
Yeah, he has been playing really well in this last little stretch here.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you were making the point about the defense as well as making the right pass, the numbers may not pop off the screen in the box score specifically, but if you watch the game, he does a lot of impactful stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. He's just got a great feel for the game. A lot of the stuff comes naturally to him. In the pre-draft process, we harped so much on how the Dan Hurley, like, Popovich
Hmm.
comparisons, and how you're just going to be well coached. You're going to have a high IQ. You're going to have a ton of fundamentals. And we've seen that throughout this year. And just kind of to your point with the starting lineup, I mean, notice when you look at this game log right here, Ethan, that Lakers game, when he had a great game in that one, 10 for 16 overall with the 23 points. That's his first game with 36 minutes. And if you look after that, as much he did have 25 against Milwaukee, and that was another kind of overall rough team performance. But everything before that, with less than 30 minutes, or less than 25 plus minutes, it's just, it's a big drop off. You have some decent games, here and there, like you have the Clippers game down there, then you
Hmm.
have that Philly game. But other than that, it's kind of a big drop off. You have to go back to when he was in the starting lineup before to kind of see those numbers go up again. And it's not just all about box score watching, but I think this one is something that is also applicable and matches the eye test, where when he's in the starting lineup, the fit, it just feels a little bit more seamless than him playing off the bench. And it seems like the game comes a little easier to him. And obviously that's because of who he's surrounded by, but still he does a lot of great things that you've got to give him credit for when he's in the starting lineup because of, just the fit.
For sure. And just because I know someone's going to mention it in the comments, I'm aware that he's averaging 2 turnovers a game, and we just complimented his decision making. To me, those turnovers are just the game hasn't yet slowed down for him because those are good passes, Jude. Like, I think he has the right idea. It just takes him half a second too long, and he lets the defense rotate. Or, he's just not used to the length and athleticism of NBA defenses yet. Once he figures that out, that won't be as glaring. And also, every great playmaker also has
Right.
turnovers, except for like John Stockton, Chris Paul, and like maybe I'm missing somebody. But for the most part, all ball dominant guys, Luca, James, Harden, like Russell Westbrook, they're all going to have, more turnovers than the average guy. Um, and I was going to say one other thing about him before I finished off.
Well, here, let me just
Go
jump
ahead, chime
in.
in, chime in.
Just, it's okay for rookies to be able to, adjust to the speed of the NBA.
hmm Yes, correct. It
Was
is
that was
expected.
that
That's
what
not.
you were gonna say?
No, I was going to say. Additionally, if you watch these games, he is not getting any calls
Oh
offensively.
yeah,
So a lot of these turnovers are
they
blatant
hack him,
fouls,
dude.
and they're
Yeah,
just not calling it because he's a rookie. But like, go watch the tape. Like, and he
yeah.
doesn't usually like get mad at the refs,
hmm
but lately he's literally like he just turns around and looks at him
I've
like,
seen it.
"What the
Yeah,
heck?" Like,
he
and
did
he's
it in
not an
Paris.
emotional guy. Yes, he did
Yes,
do it in Paris a few times, but I mean, it's kind of. I'm sure it's getting to him a little bit. It's got to be frustrating because these are obvious hacks.
and I think he'll, eventually they'll start doing that, especially being on the same team as Victor. It's going to
hmm
start happening as his star continues to rise. And that's the other thing. I mean, I think, look, I understand that sometimes there are just things about guys that like that's just they are who they are in some
hmm
areas, and it's not going to change. For 20-year-old rookie Stephon Castle, I'm not really ready to say that about anything in his game yet. So
That's fair.
I'm gonna give him some time there. I definitely get your sentiment there. Like, yes, he is averaging turnovers, but he's a rookie getting like significant reps as a ball handler in the
hmm
NBA for the first time.
Yeah, and to be honest,
They
he wasn't exactly.
literally okay, Scoot Henderson. Like, imagine like
Mhm.
that. Let's apply the Scoot Henderson standard because
Oh yeah,
everybody, you know what I mean, to him, to
he's
this
playing
season,
really well
and
lately.
he is because again, it takes time.
Mhm.
Anyways, we're
And
not trying
Stephon,
to make excuses for people all the time. It's just
right?
with young players, sometimes like Larry Markkinen, he didn't really pop off until he was like 25. And he's a very valuable player. Everybody wanted him on our team this summer. That's my rant.
That very valid rant, Jude. And if you really think about it too, at UConn, while he did have playmaking skills and he did
Right.
occasionally run point, he really wasn't like a ball dominant point as he is now with the
Uh-huh.
Spurs. Like he
Yep.
really hasn't been that since high school. So I'm sure this is even more of an adjustment than typical because he didn't even get reps like that in college necessarily.
Yeah, 100%. He was much more of a wing for them because of the guard depth that they have, and some of those guys, are playing for other teams in the league right now.
Mhm.
Um,
You know
but
what?
yeah,
All this is gonna change, Jude, after All-Star break when the NBA and the referees are like, "Okay, this guy's actually a star because he's gonna
yeah.
shine and be big during the slam dunk contest," which he is officially a part of. Shout out my guy Stephon Castle. We just talked about this too, Jude.
Dude, I'm so glad that was the smoothest transition ever to some Spurs news that somehow I didn't put in the rundown, but we need to
All good.
talk about that. Shout out to Stephon Castle being in the dunk contest. Mac McClung is in it as
Yep.
well. Have you seen anybody else who's going to be in it?
It's a guy from the Bucks. I'm sorry, I forget his name. He's got an afro. Let me
Andre Jackson Jr. Yeah.
yes, and as another rookie. It's Matas Buzelis from the Bulls.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good little
Who
cast. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Matas and Stefan were in a dunk contest back in high
Yeah.
school together, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So that'll
Okay,
be interesting rematch.
that'll get me to watch, the dunk contest, and Ethan, you were talking about that last episode. You were just saying, "Hey, I just hope that there's a spur involved in something like the three-point contest or the dunk contest, not just the
Mhm,
skills challenge. We've gotten that with Tony, and we got that with Wemby, and obviously we got Wemby in the All-Star game.
mm.
But you were hoping for that, and we got it.
God bless, they did it finally. And you know what? Bring back the horse competition too. Let's get Wemby in the horse
Ooh,
competition.
I like that. One-legged 3 horse. Yes,
Mhm.
I'm down
Yes.
for it. You know what I'm thinking about? I was talking about those Memphis games as much as, they unfortunately they were both losses, and especially that second game, the second half was really ugly.
Mhm,
Stephon was dunking like with ease in those
mhm,
games. Like they weren't the craziest, like, flashiest dunks like for a dunk contest, but you could see the athleticism he has that if
mhm.
he's in an open floor, like he could do some fun stuff. I'm not saying like he's gonna for sure win, but like you said, I think honestly, I think his star is for sure gonna rise after
Mm.
after that slam dunk contest, and hopefully that leads to him getting hacked or getting some whistles when he gets hacked more.
Please, for the
Or
love of
yeah,
God. You know what's funny about Stephon as a dunker? Like, we all know he's got
Uh-huh.
hops, we know he's got a crazy vertical, but when he dunks, it never looks like he's jumping hard.
Yeah, no,
Does that
it
make
right.
sense?
No, that's kind of what I was trying to say. Again, like, the dunks weren't crazy against Memphis, like, flash-wise, but you can just see it. It looks so effortless
Yes, effortless is
almost,
the right word.
and so when you see that, when you think about him in the dunk contest, it's like, I see why they put him in. I see why they invited him.
I just hope he has something like he never does anything flashy like you said, so we're gonna have to
But
see what he has in his bag.
see, the great thing too is that this isn't a game situation, and so that's the thing, like, he's so serious, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't you don't wanna do the flash and then risk it, you know what I mean, and have a
Mhm.
turnover instead. Where now, because it's open floor, like, I think we're gonna see some good stuff from Steph.
His vibe next to the other 3 guys,
Yeah.
he like D Rose, the Eastern Conference All-Stars
Uh-huh.
that one year. Remember
Yeah.
when they were all, like, dancing, he was just like,
That's gonna be
"That's
no,
literally gonna be
for
Stephon."
sure.